This week on Hermitcraft. In case you are wondering what 1024 mega chickens look like.
Not just a peacock, it's a gigacock.
It's a gigacock, what a name!
Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is LoyXP, and both of us find it increasingly funny when people are surprised it's us who run this show, even though we introduce ourselves in every video. So, a quick bit of housekeeping. Yes, it's us, and if you haven't heard of us before, we both run our own channels, me being the person behind the Minecraft Survival Guide, and Zloy doing videos on cool Minecraft maps and his own YouTuber survival servers. There are, however, a myriad of creators less lucky than us, and we think a bunch of them really deserve your attention. And since the recap was founded on the idea of attracting more and more attention to the underrated channels amongst the hermits, we figured it'd be fitting if every now and again we use our community page to spotlight other Minecraft creators who we think are worth your time. Let us know what you think of the idea in the comments below, and if you're up for it, keep an eye on the community tab for people to support. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Rendog, who has transformed the apartment above the Snips barbershop into Dr. Renstein's research and development wing, with the aim of figuring out a suitably Star Warsy creeper farm design. Eventually, the YouTube comments come through and suggest draping it with the exterior of Jabba the Hutt's palace from Tatooine. Ren outlines it in the nearby jungle and tests out some creeper farm designs, but before he can start mass-producing thermal detonators, he has to clear out the interior.
I mean, it's easy peasy lemon squeezy, my dudes, and no doubt Jabba approved.
In the meantime, his exterior gets freshened up by B-dubs as he returns to the lower half of Snips to get a chop and fade. He even gets some free ears out of the deal.
I guess you should probably get the head for it. Oh, Scar's
Yes,
arrived.
Absolutely.
Scar's here.
Hi, Scar.
Nothing to see here, Scar. Nothing to see here. Ah, there we go. Now I can see it, dude. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, hello.
Ren isn't the only one getting a glow up from BOO. He's back at his medieval townscape, transforming the local zombies back into villagers who can reproduce and repopulate the area. Naturally, he's used barrels for so many details in his builds that it instantly becomes a community of fishermen, and they kind of take over his house.
It's alive. I've got roommates. Get out of my bedroom. Get out of the bedroom. What is...
But before long, he's swapping around their professions, befriending the nearest stonemason, and turning the others into clerics, farmers, and librarians.
Have this job. Have this job. There's a job right here.
He's become quite the farmer himself, it turns out. As the Sewer Cats meet up to award their final round of points in the Cleo/Keralis games, B-dubs reveals that at one point he stole an entire wheat field. Unfortunately, it is the difference between a field and a plain that costs him the victory, Scar walking away the winner after all. And the walk away quickly became a run, because as soon as he was pronounced the sewerest of the cats, Zombie Cleo/Keralis barged in to bust the whole operation.
Yes. Are you telling me that no one noticed that that's gone?
Hey!
What?
Oh!
Hey!
How many arrows to kill him?
The two of them had already found the hideout by then, and it was only polite to evict the pranksters in person.
Oh!
There's the gas station sign. Like, how did I not notice this?
To Impulse's credit, both of them had to deal with his zombie prank, even if it wasn't as ironic in the case of Keralis, which is also what led to them discovering a passage in the office's map, so credits detracted, I suppose.
How do we do? Whoa, dude! Whoa!
No.
Whoa!
All right, that's...
Whoa!
What?
I almost died there,
fine.
Cleo. Where did that guy came from?
What the heck? That dude came out of your map.
It won't be the last thing Cleo and Keralis will be sharing, however, as the both of them were so impressed with the way the other was running their base that they agree to split the responsibility for maintaining Harbour Town in the future. Keralis even builds Cleo her own zombie office with appropriate branding and interiors.
But it was not easy getting those guys here.
It's just amazing.
I know. I took inspiration from...
If it wasn't enough for people to steal actual physical objects from Keralis' city, Joe Hills turns up to steal raw ideas as well.
Keralis, you brilliant genius.
In actual fact, Joe just wants some inspiration for the interiors of his floppy disk skyscraper from one of the server's finest modern builders, and he's even been given free reign to decorate a couple of floors in one of Keralis' office buildings, although he can't guarantee it'll match the aesthetic elsewhere.
But I'm also kind of like, Yeah, I'm gonna do my best, but don't expect, this.
As for his more rustic architecture, it hits a little bit more industrial after Cubfan135 and XB Crafted agree to establish a pipeline from the winery to Cub's left side of a mansion. The longest crazy straw you've ever seen concludes in a swimming and tasting pool of wine in Cub's basement, where he establishes a fine drinking area, retroactively justifying the speakeasy Doc installed ages ago.
Then we walk into the art gallery. We got a nice carpet down here. Of course, there's some hidden lighting in certain spots, so that helps to light up the area. You can see, nice place here to sit down, have a little wine, have a little something to eat, like a little bite of cake or something.
Cub had better get a more sanitary environment as well, otherwise the goatfish Azuma delivers for him will have to stay in the tiny delivery tank. Xisumavoid focuses on completing the aquarium shop's other less important sides this week, gradually doing his part in reducing the amount of frames Aquatown is allowed to have at all times.
We've just built so much stuff in this area that the frame rate is starting to drop.
But there's another communal project requiring his services, the Among Us minigame. Though he's the first person that hasn't been bribed or blackmailed into helping with it, Azuma adds a sheep area to the general layout, which requires the players to collect wool from passing animals in minecarts, which does mean that he did his task before the game even opened.
But yes, we do indeed need to get sheep, and Tango is not in a rush to get Among Us up and running. He said he's got a long time to go before it's going to be ready to play. But what I think I'll try and do... Wait a minute.
Enemy spotted.
BOO comes close with his contribution, even if it's less about functionality and more about working around the functionality. The interiors he's made for the place are looking great, and miraculously do not interfere with any of the redstone. Tango Tech, in the meantime, adds another couple of tasks to the lengthy list, a lab area and a snowball shooting range, which just gives us the realization that this entire project is a minigame made of smaller minigames. As for the most dangerous game, we get to see him finding Perry the Platypus.
Are you kidding me right now? Perry the Platypus to match my Doofenshmirtz tower!
Like the rest of the sewer cats, Impulse SV makes his exit from the second most dangerous game, stealing stuff from Zombie Cleo, and having previously committed Grand Theft Auto, decides to get a respray to preserve his identity.
Well, that took a bit of an unexpected turn.
Now with pink hair to match his pink base, Impulse doesn't want the view of his bubblegum pyramid blocked from the Shades of Grey Tower in Aquatown, which makes Azuma's new development on the Ocean Parade a problem. After a proximity chat tour with everyone and a tall discussion with the local real estate moguls, Impulse establishes himself as the building officer of Vertical Enforcement, or BOVE for short, and builds himself an office where people can buy the rights to heights.
When they actually deposit the complaint into the system, it's going to make its way through and, goodbye complaint.
Or you could just be TFC and build offshore, where the sky's the limit, at least for now. Getting to the sky is a little tedious though, and he doesn't want to drop down to his branch mine every time he needs to deposit materials, so he builds a ground floor dropper clock for his storage system water elevator. With that taken care of, he frames out some windows in the lower portion of the tower, although it still needs some landscaping to tie it into the local terrain.
Maybe grass it in, or something to make it look somehow better.
Unlike Grian, who ties the local terrain to the 0 coordinate. Though the mob farm part of the Wonder Mansion prevents it from having a perfectly symmetrical hole up front, Grian gets it as close as possible by emptying out the front lawn to the front bedrock. A project only a little more tedious than pushing Scar's AFK body all the way to Snips, so BOO can maybe fix the whole mummification situation that the base swap seems to have inflicted on him.
And now we've got an audience. There's 6 people outside. 5 people outside. What is happening?
This is where my tallest building goes, though.
No!
Our widest, most
Something's got to cover up all that pink, right?
No.
And finally, there's Original Mumbo, who confronts the situation in a much more direct way.
I have to ask you something.
Oh gosh, it's so bad up front. Up this close, it's terrifying.
Returning to the server after a hectic week, Mumbo makes the equally hectic decision of doing something over at Pacific, but at least he's making less work for himself by realizing that the shop that sells everything probably doesn't need to sell that much everything.
That would halve the capacity. It would give us 84 different types of items to sell, which is still loads. That's still tons. but it might be more manageable.
After admitting that bamboo super smelters are a thing of the past and setting up his furnace array to receive viable fuel via hopper minecarts, Mumbo and Scar review the changes to their bases and swap entirely legitimate deeds, which means Scar can finally swap his skin back and presumably see his reflection in mirrors again.
Yep. And now other hermits have asked me,
Yep.
Are you a vampire?
The way you're right, it is very vampire-y. Why does this skin only look good on my face?
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixel. In the caves and cliff snapshots, I discover that up is down is more down, and moss may be the new insta-mining. Don't believe me? Check out the video in this week's End Screen Theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.